Alright, hello everyone, it is Nigel here once again, and welcome back to another episode of System Shock Radio. Um, for starters, sorry about the glare coming from my window behind me. Of course, the sun is still out and it's shining real bright, I'll tell you what. Yeah, so let's get right into it. I got a bunch of episodes of System Shock Radio coming because I am behind on them, as I talked about in my update video. But we are going to get them out starting with this one. So this is going to be episode 66, and let's get right into it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is Austin Theory and Liv Morgan winning Money in the Bank. So Money in the Bank happened a few weeks ago, and at the event, Liv Morgan won the women's Money in the Bank to open up the show, and then Austin Theory won the men's Money in the Bank to close out the show. Oh, and I do like that dynamic that WWE does, where the Money in the Bank at the Money in the Bank pay per view, even though I think the Money in the Bank should go back to being at like an event such as like WrestleMania or even probably SummerSlam. But yeah, at its own pay per view, it starts off with a Money in the Bank match and it ends with a Money in the Bank match, which I think is pretty smart and pretty good idea. We start off with the women's Money in the Bank. Liv Morgan won the Money in the Bank contract and ended up cashing in later on in the night, as per usual with the women's Money in the Bank matches, and took the SmackDown Women's title from Ronda Rousey. And meanwhile, Austin Theory, who did go into the event as the U.S. champion, got lost to Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, new U.S. champion, and then Austin Theory would be added per the orders of Mr. McMahon and to the men's Money in the Bank match, and he would end up winning it. So Austin Theory ends up pulling double duty for the most part. And I think these are some pretty interesting winners. Liv, I'm a huge fan of her, and I'm glad she's finally getting her time in the sun as women's champion, and I want to see where she goes from here. She is supposed to be facing Ronda Rousey in a rematch for the title at SummerSlam. As for Austin Theory, I think this could be pretty interesting as well. I admit I probably should have seen it coming when he lost the U.S. title. But when he came out, it was a bit interesting and a bit of a surprise. But what was funnier is that a lot of the other superstar who's in the Money in the Bank match were pretty surprised that he was being inserted. Drew McIntyre made a face. Seth Rollins was like, "What? The Theory? Why is he in this match?" But yeah, be that as a Theory or Austin Theory, I may interchange between the two as I'm playing it. Him winning the Money in the Bank is going to be pretty interesting to see how this pans out, when he'll cash in and how he'll cash in. It'll be interesting to see. Some people speculate that he's going to wait until Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns beat the crap out of each other till neither of them can stand, and then he's going to cash in and go from there. We'll see if they actually go through with putting the world titles on him, or he may hang on to it for a while. What I don't really like about it is that he's still going to be facing Bobby Lashley for the U.S. title at SummerSlam. Now I get it; he might want like his rematch clause and everything, but at the same time, dude, you're Mr. Money in the Bank. You don't really need the U.S. title. You got a guaranteed shot at the World Championship. The U.S. title, that's a mid-card championship. You don't really need that anymore. You got almost a guaranteed opportunity. You do have a guaranteed opportunity at the World Championship, but you almost have a guaranteed World Championship right there. You don't need the U.S. title anymore. You got the briefcase. You got it right there. But be that as it may, he's probably not going to win at SummerSlam against Lashley, and he'll probably just stick to Money in the Bank and everything. But yeah, so that's that. Next up, we've got AEW coming to Buffalo. Yes. Finally, after a long time, AEW is finally going to be coming to Buffalo. I think up to this point, if I'm not mistaken, the closest they've got is like Rochester, which is about an hour away. But they're finally going to be here in Buffalo at the KeyBank Center, and it's going to be right on my birthday. So I am definitely going. I am definitely excited to see AEW come to Buffalo. I want to see what they'll do for the first episode of AEW Dynamite, and I think I think it is both Dynamite and Rampage. They're probably gonna be filming Rampage immediately afterwards, but it's definitely gonna be Dynamite coming to Buffalo, and I can't wait to see how they do things now that they're gonna be in Buffalo. I want to see will Kenny Omega be back in time. They're saying he's close to a return at this point, and there is a good chance he might return at like All Out, which is gonna be like a few days before, or this is before they come to Buffalo. Oh, All Out is on September 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. And let me just check here. Here, either the second or the fourth, but I want to see how they do now that they'll be in Buffalo. And I do wonder what took them so long to actually. Yeah, so September 4th. So I wonder what took them so long to actually come to Buffalo. I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, yeah, they're gonna be coming to Buffalo, and I'm gonna be pretty excited about that. Next, what we're going to talk about is my thoughts on the Star Wars movies, at least so far. So, for those of you who have been following, I've been reviewing the Star Wars movies. I said I wanted to review all of them, and I wanted to do like the original trilogy, from the 1970s, 80s, all that, and then do the prequels, which is episodes 1, 2, and 3. And then episodes 7, 8, and 9, the sequel trilogies that came out not too long ago, or as some people have called it, the Star Wars Dark Ages. And I also wanted to review spin-offs like Rogue One and Solo. Oh, so those movies. And so far, the latest one I've done is episode 1. I reviewed that last week, so if you haven't already, go check that out. And I'm also going to be reviewing episode 2 probably at some point this week, if not next. But so far, it's a pretty interesting story that they're concocting and everything. I do like how we see some stuff that gets revisited as we're now heading into the prequels. I do like how there's some themes of like politics and good versus evil and stuff like that here in the Star Wars universe, and it's stuff we've seen before told in other stories, but to see it told here is pretty interesting for the most part. The battles, for the most part, do seem pretty good. Some of the effects are a bit cheesy, but that was the '80s for you. And CG effects sometimes have been not great, but yeah. So there's that stuff, and I've pretty much been enjoying them for the most part, and I want to see how the story continues to evolve from there. And it's stuff that does make you want to go more into the lore of Star Wars beyond just the movies. So like the comic books and the TV shows and stuff like that, and to see them branch out and add different pieces based on different things that they're doing to add to the story of Star Wars, the overarching story. It does leave you wanting to come back for more, which I do like. And I do like how you can tell a lot of time and effort was put into it, a lot of creativity was put into it, just to keep the story going and to see how things unfold. You can tell there definitely were plans for it. Now, not everything has been received well, especially from like the hardcore Star Wars fans, but we're gonna keep going through. We're gonna come to our own conclusions, and we're gonna see what's out there and everything when it comes to Star Wars. And I'm interested to see how the story continues to evolve as we go through now the prequels and everything. But next topic is going to be why I don't go to the movies that much anymore. Speaking of movies, the movie theaters. The movie theater experience. I remember as a kid, I used to love going to the movies. Now, as I'm older, they're not really for me anymore. I feel like, and there's a few reasons for that. For starters, there's the prices. How almost everything's overpriced. The tickets, even though they do have the $5 Tuesdays and everything. There's the tickets. There's the food, which movie snacks are notoriously way too expensive, and the excuse they gave as to why they're expensive is not the best. But there's those. There's the fact that we have like streaming movies, so unless it's like a movie that I really want to see right at that moment, and or I'm going with friends and we want to find something to do for the night, so we decide to go to the movies. That is one of the only reasons why I go. Other than that, we got streaming, so it will eventually be on like streaming services. Pay small fee, and you can watch it from the safety and comfort of your own home. That, and I think between the streaming and like COVID and everything, I think that really crippled a lot of people's enjoyment for the movies, because of course with COVID happening, the movie theaters were closed for a long time. They just reopened like last year, and so there's probably still some people who are very wary about going to the movies, and understandable. There's some people who are still wary about going into public in general after this whole COVID thing happened, which does make sense for the most part. And I feel like that, like, I'm not afraid to go out in public. I've had to do it even throughout COVID because I had to work. I was considered a essential employee, but yeah, I still had to go out in public for like groceries and stuff like that. So I'm kind of used to it, but other than that, movies aren't really for me anymore. Unless, like I said, it's a movie I like really want to see, like right then and there, like right now. I want to go see this movie right now, since it's in theaters right now, such as like Spider-Man: No Way Home when it came out, or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Other than that, I'll just wait for it to go to streaming and everything. Or, like I said, if I'm out with friends and family and we're like, let's find something to do when I head to the movies, and then we head to the movies, and or they got like the 4D experience. My friend took me a couple times to see like movies in 4D and everything. He was hyping it up, and for the most part, it was pretty fun, kinda. So, other than that, movies really aren't my thing anymore, like the movie theaters and all that. But finally, the last thing I want to talk about is a pretty interesting topic, and that is the fear of failure. So, why is there such a fear of failure? Why are we afraid to fail oftentimes? And why does fearing failure stop us from doing stuff? So I'll tell you from firsthand experience, and it's something I kind of still go through sometimes. And you don't like to fail. You don't like to invest so much into something, and spend so much time doing something that you end up not getting that return, where it ends up falling flat and you end up failing at it. But I like to say to you that the only time you fail truly is when you stop trying. Now, it sounds cliche. A lot of people have said it before, but honestly, it's true. If you keep trying at something, and and it keeps not working out the way you want it to, take that as a learning experience. Try saying, okay, how can I do it differently this time? Now, there's some stuff in life that's not for you, and some stuff that you're not really gonna be as good as in those regards. That stuff, you may want to call it quits, but there's some stuff where you may not succeed at it at first, but if you keep going with it, eventually you'll learn something, and it'll work out for you. And I feel like the reason a lot of people are afraid of failing is because they don't want to try it over again, and they get discouraged when it doesn't work out, and they say, you know what, this doesn't work out, this hasn't worked out, why do I continue bothering, why do I bother continuing to try and continue to do this? I should just call it quits and give in here. And sure, or you can throw in the towel and leave it at that, but how will you know that it will or won't work out if you don't keep trying at it? Now, like I said, there's some stuff where you may want to consider calling it quits, where it just may not be for you. But I'd like to say that there's a lot of stuff in life where if you continue to try at it, eventually you will succeed at it, and you'll continue to learn from it. And when you look back, heck, you'll say, hey, I can't believe that this is how things worked out for me, and I almost blew it by giving up. So, overcome that fear of failure, and you will succeed. Either that, you'll either succeed or you'll learn. Everything in life is everything in life just about how it is a learning experience in some way, shape, or form, and being able to learn from your mistakes and being able to continue to move forward is not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult in a lot of cases, but you'll be better for it in the long run, and you'll be glad that you did. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If this is your first time watching System Shock Radio, I hope you enjoyed. But if you're a returning viewer, I also hope you enjoyed. Hey, thank you all so much for watching and your continued support. Heard I'll continue to pump out episodes as the week goes on. Ooh, thought I was about to sneeze, but thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.